In the order for the Mandan Public School District, Monday, June 26, 2023. First item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Is there any changes to the agenda? Seeing none from the administration. Anybody else have any changes? Could I get a motion then to accept the agenda?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Oval, please call roll.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Moving on to public comment, communications. Anybody wish to address the audience? Seeing nobody, we will just move on to the next item, which is the administrator's report. First item on there is the Heart River CTE update. Dr. Betts.
Yeah, just a couple things. We, as you know, we are joining, we are already in the Heart River CTE unit with several of our neighboring school districts. We have hired a director, Kevin Nelson. Kevin is the former director of the Rough Rider CTE unit and also the former superintendent of Hebron. He also taught ag in Hebron for a number of years. Very well connected. Dr. Rederath and I met with him for about an hour this morning, kind of talked about things that we need to get working on. We had a nice meeting, so he's already started working. And then Hazen is also going to join. We will have a meeting to approve that sometime in June. And our two representatives, July, excuse me, thank you. Our two representatives, Mr. Peters and Mrs. Gazed, will get that scheduled, and we will meet with the other board members of Heart River CTE.
Okay. Any questions? All right. We'll move on to the next item, North Dakota DPI, North Dakota School Board Association Board Member Boot Camp, August 7th. Dr. Betts.
Yep, that's scheduled for August 7th. We also have a board meeting that day, but if any of you are interested in attending that, let me know and we will get you registered.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
It's only for new members, or are they?
It's
how are they
new and
formed?
returning members. I
New
think
and returning.
they just review everything the department does with schools, and it's just an overview.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions? If not, you have anything else under the administrator's report? I do just like to say thank you for all your hard work, Jeff, and everything. I know you wanted to sneak out to go to a different meeting, but from the board's perspective and everything, thank you. We wish you the best of luck over in Bismarck. So.
Thank you. My intent was just to stop in since I'm still kind of hired here. So, and just again extend a thank you to you as well.
Yep.
Thank you for letting me work for you.
Yep. No, thank you, and best wishes over in Bismarck, Dr. Fauchenat. All right, then we'll move to the consent agenda. Review and approve previous board minutes from May 15th, 2023. Review and approve special board minutes from May 30th, 2023. Review and approve special board minutes from June 19th, 2023. Review and consider approval of May 2023 bills, revenues, and expenditures. What are your wishes on the consent agenda?
Move to approve.
We have a motion from Mr. Horn. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a second by Mr. Peters. Ms. Oval, please call roll.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Moving on to unfinished business, we have no unfinished business, so we'll move on to new business. The first item under new business is canvass and accept results of the 2023 Mandan School Board election. Mr. Legacy.
Yes, included in your packet was the official results from the school board election. We had no absentee ballots to add to the totals, so you can see the final total counts in front of you. We had 34 total voters. Mr. Haugen, Ms. Huvestal, and Ms. Peel were our top three vote getters and have been reelected, so I would recommend you approve the results as submitted.
All right. What are the wishes of the board on the school board election?
I would move that we approve the school board election.
All right, we have a motion from Mr. Peters to approve it. Do we have a second?
I'll second the results.
We have a second from Ms. Gazette. Any further discussions, comments, questions? Seeing none, Ms. Oval, please call roll.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Next item, review and consider approval to approve a resolution calling for the balance of the 2013 Mandan Middle School bonds. Mr. Legacy.
Yeah, I'm going to do this in two parts. I want to talk a little bit about the resolution in front of you and the certificates, and then just give an update on the rest of our funding plan that we have for the high school. So in front of you, you can see we have a certificate of full redemption of bonds with the notice of full redemption. This is so we can pay off the middle school a few years early. This has always been part of our plan. We talked about this when we went through our public comment period and public meetings for the high school bond. We said we would do what we can to pay the middle school off before we had the full issuance of bonds on the high school. So we wouldn't pay on those at the same time. This allows us to do that. And what I need action on is the resolution authorizing bond redemption. This will allow us to pay middle school bonds off in full, and we will not have to levy that debt this coming year.
All right. It's a good thing.
Yep, let's take action on that, and then maybe I'll go over the next pieces. Does that work for you?
Yep, that works for us. Could I get a motion to accept the resolution to pay off the Mandan Middle School bonds?
I move to accept the resolution to pay off the Mandan Middle School bonds as presented.
All right, we have a motion by Ms. Peel. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Horn. Any further questions? This is a good thing.
Yes, it is a
Nice to
good
get
thing.
paid off.
Yes.
Ms. Silva, please call roll.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And then, Mr. Legacy, you want to go further?
Yeah, just a bit of what's going to be coming at you here for the foreseeable future for our funding. If you remember from legislative session, we are allowed to apply for an additional $20 million of bonds from the State School Construction Loan Fund. We have applied for that. I believe we're going to be accepted into that program. So you'll see a resolution at the July meeting so we can hopefully get those loan funds out. We're going to need those funds very soon. Construction is happening, so we kind of need to get that going. Also in July, you're going to see a resolution for an additional $5 million from the legislature. That's going to be paid back from our general fund, and that was our inflationary kind of coal trust loan that we qualify for. So we have applied for those funds. I'm 2% at 2% on both those. So it is with current interest rate environment, that's good for the school district. I see no reason that we're not going to be approved for those loans, but you'll see those coming at you at the July meeting.
Okay.
And then beyond that, we still have $15 million in bonds we can sell from our building fund. We passed that resolution, I think it was
Close to a year ago.
probably a year
Last
ago. So we can sell those bonds at any time. I'm waiting to sell those as long as we can. I want to see what shakes out with our interest rates, and hopefully they go down, the bond market improves. If we can get the loan funds that I think we will, we can kind of kick the can down the road on any more bonds that we have to sell and hopefully see better interest rates in the future. And then beyond that, we'll have it about an additional $6 million that we can sell bonds for from our original bond resolution. We had our $47 million sale, then we have our loans that we have qualified for, and the $6 million is the remaining piece of that bond.
Mr. Legacy, any idea what the loans are at right now? I'm just trying to compare to the 2% that we're seeing through the state here.
Yeah, if you remember when we sold that $47.5 million, we got that at 1.6%.
Yep.
Loans at 2%. I don't remember. We talked to Ann Willett from PFM not too long ago. We're probably looking upwards of 4% right now, if I remember right from that conversation.
Yeah, if I may, Mr. President, and I would say we're high threes to low fours, depending upon bond rating and when you do it is where we're at right now. I know another school district in North Dakota just sold bonds, and they were right at 4%.
Okay. I think it's just important. I think we need to recognize our legislators in this case, because 2% for us is a huge savings over the life of our bonds in relation to it. And that was kind of why I was asking the question, because they did give us the opportunity to step into both of these loan funds again and be able to draw down some additional money. So I just want to say thank you.
And I mentioned in my name last time we did it, but Representative Porter was instrumental in that, and we thank him for his work on that. It's going to save the taxpayers of Mandan millions of dollars over the course of this life. I also want to say that the longer we hold off selling those bonds at the higher interest rate, we don't pay interest until we get the money. So if we don't need the money right now, it's to our advantage to hold off and wait and use the less expensive money
Yep,
first.
that makes sense.
Yep.
All right. Anything else?
No, I just wanted to give you an update on what we have left.
Any questions for him on any of this stuff? Interesting funding mechanisms, but they all got to come together in the end.
A lot of pieces in the air, yeah.
All right, thank you for all you do there, you guys, on that. Next item, review and consider initial approval of the 2023-2024 consolidated application for federal funds. I think that's actually was a handout they gave us tonight, if you hadn't have a chance to look at it. Ms. Ritter, welcome
Yeah.
to the table. and-
Thank you, thank you. Yes, if you're familiar, the consolidated application is our three major federal funding. Title I, Title II, and Title IV are part of the consolidated app. And DPI's changed it a bit this year, and there's a little more to the application up front. And we'll be doing the budgeting at probably end of July when we get the official numbers. So the handout in front of you has what they've projected us for funding. I don't foresee it changing drastically, but it may shift a little bit. So just a couple of things that I think are worth noting on here. Under Title I, we are going to see about a $100,000 increase, but we're also adding Lakewood in. So you're looking at another building that we're splitting that between. So we saw some shifting in funding. We still had the same schools qualify as title, like Lewis and Clark was grandfathered in. They were right on the bubble. So we saw some shifting in funding with adding Lakewood in there. Another thing I think to note on there, St. Joe's Elementary did choose to take Title I funding this year. They have not in the past, but they did this coming year. Also, our general poverty percentage is up about 6% as a district. So I think that's just worth noting as far as looking at some of our needs as a district on where we're trending. If you look on the backside, Title II, we're projected to see a small increase that's looking at things like our instructional coaches we use for that professional development. We'll go up about $10,000 there on projection. And then looking at Title IV, which we use for nurses and some of our social work support, we'll see about a $20,000 increase is what we're projected to for this next year. And then we'll continue our lookalike programs at Fort Lincoln and Red Trail as we have in the past. So what I would just ask if there's any questions, and if you would approve our submitting the application for our consolidated funds, and we'll come back with the budget in July.
I had just a question for you. On Christ the King in St. Joe's, is that our staff that goes over and does that, or they?
Yep. This year, we're going to be sharing a staff member out of Lewis and Clark is going to go over, and one out of Mary Stark is going to go over.
Okay. Any other questions? Go ahead.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
With that 6% increase in the poverty level, are there some things that you're foreseeing that we're going to need to do differently to provide services? Because it's not an insignificant increase.
No, I think continuing to look at our social work support, continuing to look at some of those well-rounded supports, I think is adding a school nurse will be helpful as far as having that support for families. I think it's something to be cognizant of for us as we're looking at taking care of the entire learner, which I think we do a nice job in Mandan, but I think continuing to look for community partners and how can we better collectively serve our community.
To that point, Ms. Rederath, is that increase in growth there that we have, is that compared to the last couple of years with COVID where they didn't actually apply and they didn't have to do that? Is that part of the issue?
It could be a little bit of it, but it's really based off the U.S. Census data for poverty in our area. So I think I feel like it's a bit more accurate than the COVID data.
Okay, I wasn't sure how the calculation was. That answers my question. So it's really apples to apples comparison there then?
I feel so.
Okay. Any questions, other questions on it? What are the board's wishes on the consolidated application for federal funds?
I'll move to approve our application for federal funds.
All right, we have a motion from Ms. Gazette. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Peter seconds it. Any further discussion, comments, questions, even though we asked them before the motion? Ms. Silva, please call roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. Moving on to the next item, review and consider approval of partnership agreement with Sanford. Dr. Bitts.
Mr. Legacy just shared with you several pieces of the puzzle that we're using to pay for high school buildings. One other piece of that puzzle is the sponsorship and partnership agreements that we're getting. We have been meeting with Sanford, and they have agreed to sponsor our auxiliary gym and our weight room in our new high school. It is a $600,000 agreement over 10 years, beginning in 2025. It would be they initially wanted to be the official provider for the district. We said you can't be for the district, and we said you could be for the auxiliary gym and the weight room, and we ended up compromising on they're the official sponsor for the high school, if you look at that wording. I do think that that's not going to prevent us. We offer a physical clinic. Northland Health comes in and does a clinic where they offer physicals. We've done that at the middle school before. We've done that at the Brave Center. We'll be able to continue to do that. right now, Sanford, when we said that's not a problem, you could do that in the high school, but we want to make sure that we're able to do what we need to do to operate as a district. But Sanford has been a great partner for us in the past. I think they'll be a great partner for us in the future, and it would be our recommendation that you approve this agreement, but I can answer any questions you have about it as well.
All right, any questions? All right, what are the wishes of the board?
I would move that we approve the partnership agreement with Sanford.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Peters. We have a second.
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Horn. Any further discussion? Ms. Ova, please call roll.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is review and consider approval of the following 23-24 teaching contracts. Carol Buchler, Counselor Custer at 50%. John Lamontagne, SSL teacher at Mandan Middle School. And correct me on how I said that, Dr. Bitts.
You got it.
I got it.
That's correct, yeah. And that's a replacement. They did some shuffling at the middle school, but it would be our recommendation that you approve these two contracts at this time.
All right, what are the wishes of the board?
I would move that we approve these contracts.
We have a motion by Mr. Peters. We have a second.
Second.
We have a second. Any further discussion? Ms. Beal seconded. If not, Ms. Oval, please call roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. And welcome to the family. Next item on the agenda is review and consider approval of the following letters of resignation. Kara Fetzer at Elementary at Red Trail and Annette DeForest, librarian at Fort Lincoln and Red Trail. Dr. Bitson, while you do that, can you tell us how many open positions we still got left as you go through that? If you know, if you don't, that's fine.
No, I don't know exactly, but I know we have a librarian position. I know we have a counseling position at the high school. I believe we still have a special education position that we're advertising between Red Trail, or excuse me, between Roosevelt and the middle school. We have a nurse application that we're going to be filling, but that's not certified. We may have one elementary position yet. We're still waiting to see on that. Yeah, about 5 certified.
All right.
It is tough to find teachers, especially when you get into special ed and counseling, and it really is.
Okay, so we have the two individuals here for letter of resignation. What are the board
Yeah,
wishes?
both of them, as contracts were due, had conversations with us, and chose not to come back for different reasons, but would like to thank them for their service to Mandan schools as well.
Yep. All right. What are the wishes of the board?
I'll move to accept the letters of resignation from Kara Fetzer and Annette DeForest, and again, thank them for their service to the district.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Horn. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Oval, please call roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. Next item on the agenda is review and consider approval of an open enrollment application seeking a deadline waiver. I think there's actually 3 of them here, right, Dr. Betts?
It's 3 of
Same
them from the
family.
same
Same
family.
family, yep.
This family moved out of the district, but they would like to continue to go into school here, and it would be our recommendation to accept their open enrollment application.
All right. I think it's a good deal, and they want to stay in our district. Means we're doing something right. All right. What are the wishes of the board?
I'd move to accept the open enrollment waiver presented.
All right, Ms. Beal has moved to accept the waiver. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
I have a second by Mr. Peters. Any further discussion, comments, questions? Seeing none? Ms. Oval, please call roll.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Next item, review applications and appoint an individual to fill the vacant seat on the Mandan School Board. Dr. Bitts, you want to start, and then I'll...
I can. You remember, or you all recall in May that Heidi Schukart, one of our board members, resigned her position. Her and her family are moving outside of the district. As a result of that, we were too late to meet the deadline for the regular June school board election. So we advertised. Our attorney said we could either call a special election or appoint someone to serve until June of 2024, a year from now. We decided to advertise it, and we had 9 people apply for that. We had a committee of the board interview last week, and I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Wolf. You were part of that committee, and
Yep.
we'll go from there.
So we had 9 individuals who had provided information. We interviewed 5 that day. 2 of them couldn't make it, and 2 of them we couldn't get hold of. One of them was a snafu with one of those things, so we apologize for that. We spent a lot of time talking through the applications, quite a bit of time actually, coming up to who we thought we would recommend to the board for final approval. And we decided in the end to recommend Tim Richter. He has been on the board in the past. He's been elected about 5 times by the citizens of Mandan already. He's a known commodity. He does a great job. He was president for a lot of years in regard to it. So that would be the recommendation of the 4 individuals. And I'd like to thank those 4. I mean, we had a lot of people that we talked to that night, and we spent a lot of time hashing out between the individuals to come up with the recommendation to the board. And I think we thoroughly talked through it and came up with a good recommendation as we move forward with it. And as you know, this is a 1-year recommendation, so the individual at that point in time will have to run for school board anyway. So the citizens will have a vote after that 1-year time frame. But the recommendation by the 4 of us was Tim Richter. So that's where we're at. Any questions on that, or what's your thoughts, or is there a motion to accept it starting July 1, correct? I think is the date that we would have it. So he would be available, if that's who we choose to appoint tonight, he would be available for the reorganization meetings in July and everything like that. So, thoughts, comments? Anything else anybody want to add that was there?
Well, they're all very good applicants, if you want to call it that, and it was a tough decision.
That was. And in the end, we also, I asked Mike Dr. Bitts as he went through and told him, I mean, you know, they all have an interest in being on, and we definitely recommended that they all get on to our other subcommittees and be part of the subcommittee process, because I think that is good for them to be able to do it. They have a passion for the school, and they can learn through that process. So that was also something that we thought would be very beneficial for everybody in Mandan and the citizens. So that was something that we did with it. So I'll leave it at that. What's the wishes of the board?
I'll move to approve appointing Dr. Tim Richter to fill the vacant seat for the 1 year.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Oval, please call roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. Welcome, Dr. Tim Richter. We're glad to see you back at the board again here in July. Next item on the agenda is future meeting dates. Oh, before I go there, I also want to thank all the other 8 applications for applying. We greatly appreciate, and it was great to see all the interest in it. It's great to be able to see those as we go forward. So I thank them for spending their time and their energy to do that and caring about the children of Mandan and the school district. So thank you for that. Future meeting dates, Monday, July 17th, regular school board meeting, 5:30 p.m. City Hall. That'll be our reorganizational meeting that night. Monday, August 7th, regular school board meeting, 5:30 p.m. City Hall. Monday, August 7th will be a school board retreat at 6:15. We'll either do that here in the City Hall, or we will actually maybe go to Lakewood if it's done and we have a point down there, so we could do a walkthrough as part of that retreat process. Monday, August 21st, regular school board meeting, 5:30 p.m. at City Hall. Monday, August 28th, Facility and Finance, 5:30 p.m. at the Brave Center. That'll be after we do our reorganization and who is on those. There'll also be we'll also have the CTE meeting. We don't have a firm date on that. That'll be coming up in July also with that. Anything else, Dr. Bitts, you want to add for meetings?
That's all I have.
All right, anybody else have anything else that they want to have for the board? If not, thanks you, everybody. Dr. Foshnot,